Hey YouTube, Wes here, checking in with what's going to be officially for now titled Movie Time with Wes. This is episode number 2. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're all doing well, having a great day or night. As I said in the last episode, if you're looking for vinyl, this is not the episode for you. This is all about DVDs, Blu-rays, 4K, movies at home, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So we're going to start this off with the movies I've watched recently at first, and then we'll get into the movies I picked up in the past few weeks or so. So let's go ahead and get into this episode. First, we'll talk about the movies that I watched. As I said, the first one I have here is the movie Kes from the Criterion Collection from 1970. This is a movie by Ken Loach. Very much a period piece in the coal part of the UK. This boy is growing up, he's had a rough time with his family. Discovers this, art of training wild birds and raptors and whatnot, and starts working with catches his first bird and starts working with it and training it. And it's very much just a very interesting sort of period kind of piece. Very much sort of just thrust you in, and you're just right there. And it's almost like a documentary, but it's not narrated or anything. You're just kind of there and experiencing the story and following along with this boy in his journey and finding his passion for training birds and sort of finding his way and sort of trying to avoid just being another cog in that machine of being a coal miner and doing what his brother's done and what his family's done and that kind of thing. So I really enjoyed this movie. It's one of those movies, if you're an action movie fan or something like that, this is not going to appeal to you, but it's a really nice piece of cinema that really drops you into an interesting story and interesting characters, and you really get to experience it. And really nicely shot, really nicely done, really nice story. So I really enjoyed watching this, so I definitely recommend that one if you are into classic cinema type things. Kes. I really enjoyed that one. Next up, moving to something that's not something that's as far away from classic cinema as you could get. This is the movie Last Song with Miley Cyrus, Liam Hemsworth, and Greg Kinnear. I wasn't expecting much from this, and I didn't get very much from this. I feel it could have been better. It had a good sort of theme to it. I think it kind of got off track in certain places with some of the just random, how can I explain this without spoiling it? Just sort of the random interactions between Miley Cyrus's love interest in the movie and his friends, and just sort of drama in there that was just felt very forced. The overall, it didn't really add to this overall story. It was just added drama for whatever reason. I like the concept of this movie though. Overall, it's a really nice concept, a really nice story overall. I wish they would have avoided going into that sort of drama and that love interest, and more just focused on the relationship between Miley Cyrus and her father, played by Greg Kinnear in the movie, who is, she doesn't know it, but he's dying. And I guess that's kind of a spoiler, but at this point, if you haven't seen this, you're probably not gonna, probably not gonna spoil anything for you. But I just wish it would have delved more into that story and given us more backstory on that, and I think that would have been a better way of telling this story and made it a nicer movie overall, rather than trying to go into this forced kind of drama between her love interest and his friends and his family and all that kind of thing. And it kind of went off the rails a bit. But I like the scenery. I think the cast was pretty good. I mean, I like the choice. I think Miley Cyrus did well. Greg Kinnear is really good in the movie. Some of the other characters are pretty good in the movie. It was a nice attempt. I think it could have been better. It's not. I don't hate it. I didn't turn it off. but I didn't think it was great either. So kind of so on this one, but yeah, that was that one. As I said, I'm a Miley Cyrus fan. In the first episode of this series, when I showed this as a pickup, I picked it up just because I'm a Miley Cyrus fan, so I kind of wanted to see it. So that was that. Next up is another one I showed in the first episode of the series. I talked about, since we got a 4K TV and I got a 4K Blu-ray player, and picking up movies to test that out with, and something that supports Dolby Vision, which our TV and player do, and I wanted to make sure I got a disc that had Dolby Vision on it. So that is the Fate of the Furious, I guess the most recent episode of the Fast and the Furious movie series, not counting the spin-off. Yeah, a good and enjoyable movie. It's a Fast and the Furious movie. These have gone way beyond any kind of reality, but they're just fun sort of action movies involving cars, and it was a fun watch, an enjoyable watch, and nice scenery, nicely shot, a good sort of test disc, if you will, if that's what I meant it to be. It's kind of just to check out, what can I expect as far as picture quality and stuff, going to 4K HDR, Dolby Vision, all that stuff sort of rolled into one, and that was this movie, The Fate of the Furious, and it was a fun ride. As I said, the opening scenes in Cuba were pretty awesome. I enjoyed that part. Another one I'm kind of mixed on. I've always watched the Fast and the Furious movies, but all right, next up is a classic that I just recently upgraded to 4K, and that is Forrest Gump. Again, another one I showed in my first episode. Really nice to see this one in 4K. The thing I really like about 4K is that it's high enough quality where you actually see the film grain. So watching older movies, it's a much more pleasant experience. You're not just getting blockiness and film grain together that kind of blurred together in the old 1080p days and the DVD days. This 4K picture is far enough above film quality to where you can actually see the grain, and it's a much more pleasant, much more traditional experience of classic movies that are shot on film. And yeah, Forrest Gump it's a classic movie. It's a great movie. I love this movie. A lot of people love this movie. We're checking out in line at Trader Joe's after I bought this movie, and the cashier was like, "Oh, that's my favorite movie of all time." And yeah, a lot of people love this movie. It's a fun ride, and it was good to experience this again. I hadn't seen it in more than a decade, so yeah, it was fun to see Forrest Gump again, and really nice to see it in 4K. And I really do like this new transfer they did of it. It's really nice looking, and yeah, definitely one I like to keep in my collection. All right, this next up, talk about these two movies I picked up at Dollar Tree. The first one there I picked up is Short Term 12. This is a movie about kids who are in a group home, and just sort of the stories of the different characters and sort of their backgrounds and their families, and how they're dealing with it. And actually, I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Yeah, I thought this movie was actually pretty darn good. Considering I bought it at Dollar Tree, it was an enjoyable movie, and it has Rami Malek's in here, Brie Larson and John Gallagher. Yeah, Brie Larson was really good. Just a really good movie. I definitely dug this movie quite a bit. So I would say if you're shopping at Dollar Tree and you're looking at the movies and you see this one, Short Term 12, I'd definitely recommend getting it. It's a good movie. Okay, and then the other Dollar Tree experiment I tried, this one is titled Upstream Color. Yeah, what can I say about this one? This is a confusing mess of a movie. It's meant to be how people deal with relationships, but it's done in a weird kind of way where it shows how people can be very manipulative in their relationships, and that's just something I just despise, and I have avoided that kind of thing. And when I'm around people who are manipulative like that, I just push them out of my life, and I just don't don't get into that, and there's people who sort of thrive off of that, I think, and they get into these relationships and they're constantly fighting and they're constantly, you know, trying to do battle with one another and trying to, you know, win against, you know, I'm winning or whatever it is against their partner, and it's just I don't get it. But as I said, some people seem to thrive off that kind of relationship, and that's kind of what this movie is about, and it did not interest me at all. So yeah, I can't recommend this one at all. This is another, as I said, another one from the Dollar Tree. So the Dollar Tree pickups are 50-50 for me. So that's how that went. And then the last movie we watched is the Blu-ray release of Boys in the Hood, another one I hadn't seen in quite a long time. Never had this one on Blu-ray before, so it's been quite a long time. Really nice to see this one again. You know, a classic movie at this point. Really, really great to revisit it, and definitely stands up in my opinion, and a good story. And yeah, I was glad to see this one again. I'm glad to have it in my collection. So those are the movies I watched over the past couple of weeks. Now we'll get into the stuff I picked up over the last few weeks. First one I got here. Still haven't had a chance to watch this one yet. This one, I've seen this one featured in a bunch of YouTube videos here, and I thought I'd like to check it out. It looks like something that might interest me, and that is the movie Booksmart. Pick that one up. I don't think this is available on 4K. I think this is only available on Blu-ray and DVD. So I got a Blu-ray of Booksmart. These next two are from the $5.99 bin at Best Buy. First one I got here is Robin Williams' Good Morning Vietnam, a classic movie, and I don't think I've ever seen this movie in full. I've seen bits and pieces of it over the years, but I don't think I've ever seen this movie, so I'm excited to get into this one and see it and enjoy it in one full sitting and see the whole thing at once. So that's Good Morning Vietnam. And then one of the movies I talked about in my introduction video, where I showed off my collection and I showed off that I still had the HD DVD version of Deliverance just as a placeholder. Finally got around to getting this on Blu-ray. Classic movie, one of probably in my top 10 movies of all time. Love this movie. I'd love to get this on 4K. Hopefully someday this will be transferred to 4K. I think it would do well, because it's another one of those really nicely shot movies that has a nice sort of film grain to it that I think would look pretty good if done on 4K. So I'm hoping that happens. But a classic movie, and yeah, definitely glad to have this on Blu-ray where I can actually watch it, and I'll look forward to watching this movie again soon. This next one is kind of a new re-release on 4K, and I kind of hemmed and hawed about getting it, wasn't sure. I do have a Blu-ray steelbook of it, and I was like, oh, do I really need to upgrade that to 4K? And I watched some reviews, and some people were saying that the picture quality on this is a lot better than the 4K. I think they redid the transfer and whatnot, and that is the re-release of Scarface, Al Pacino's classic movie. Yeah, I normally don't go for real violent movies, but for some reason this one, I just enjoy it. So yeah, I went ahead and picked this up in 4K. It was under $20, so that was good. A very reasonably priced release. So I went ahead and grabbed this, and yeah, I'm gonna upgrade that from my steelbook. Don't know if I'll probably keep the steelbook around for a while anyway. Okay, this next one was a pickup from my local Second and Charles. It's kind of like a half-priced books kind of store where they buy and sell used media of all kinds. I love to go there because, you know, they have records there, and they have CDs, and they have movies, and they have books, and they have all the kinds of stuff we love to collect around here. And this one was on my Amazon wish list forever, just never got around to ordering it, and I found it there for less than what it is on Amazon, and that is Live at Radio City with Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds on Blu-ray. I do like to collect concert DVDs and Blu-rays, so that was a nice find. And as I said, this one was already on my Amazon wish list. I just hadn't. It was one of those ones that just sort of sat around there forever. Never really saw a really good price come up for it, but found this one for a really good price at my local Second and Charles. So grabbed that one, added that one to the collection. These next two are from a local thrift store, the Humane Society thrift store. First one I got here is a Jeremy Clarkson DVD, Heaven and Hell. Jeremy Clarkson of Top Gear. So yeah, Heaven and Hell. He does 7 what he thinks are amazing cars, and 7 what he thinks are horrible cars. So a pretty fun ride. I have actually seen this before. I believe I downloaded this illegally at some point along the way, just to see it. But it's nice to have a physical copy of this to have in the collection, and picked that up for $1 at the thrift store, and it's still sealed, so that was nice. That was a nice pickup. And then picked up a Blu-ray there as well. It's nice that Blu-rays are starting to show up in thrift stores, and we're able to pick them up. And this is a movie I hadn't seen before, but it's Bette Midler and Woody Allen in Scenes from a Mall. I am a Bette Midler fan, so should be worth a laugh anyway. So pick that up. That was a nice addition there. And then these last 4 movies are from a Second and Charles store, but not the one here in Gainesville. These are from the store in Jacksonville. We get up to Jacksonville a couple times a year, and like to go visit the Second Charles up there, because it's usually fresh stuff that we don't normally look at the one here in our store. So the first thing I got here on Blu-ray is a sort of a blind buy movie. This is the movie American Honey with Sasha Lane and Shia LaBeouf. Kind of a coming-of-age teen road trip kind of movie, I guess, is what I get from it. As I said, this is a blind buy. It just sounded like something fun and interesting, kind of a summertime, teenage kind of road trip, coming-of-age kind of thing, just footloose and fancy-free kind of stuff. And I think I might enjoy this, so I would pick this up to give it a try. So that was my blind buy, American Honey. This next one is a twofer. Oliver Stone's Wall Street and Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, the sort of modern sequel that they did, which I never actually saw yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I haven't seen Wall Street in forever either, so it's nice to have these both in one package, so I can rewatch Wall Street and then experience Wall Street Money Never Sleeps. Michael Douglas in them. And Shia LaBeouf is in this one as well. The Shia LaBeouf theme going on here. But yeah, Wall Street twofer kind of thing. Pick that up. And then these last 2 are some new 4K pickups. But they're from, as I said, they're from Second and Charles. They're used. They've got good prices on them. First one I got here is the 4K reissue of Ghostbusters, the original version from 1984. 1984. Of course, classic movie, and it's been forever since I've seen this movie, and so yeah, looking forward to seeing this in 4K, and glad to have found that one. That was a nice pickup. And last but not least, I mentioned this in the last episode in the movies we watched, that I borrowed this movie from a friend, and I said I loved it so much I'm going to be adding this to my collection, and they happen to have it there used for a really good price, so I went ahead and grabbed it, and that's Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk in 4K. So yep, didn't take me too long to find this, and it's officially in the collection now. As I said, I really love this movie. Great movie, great show off of 4K HDR content, really nice picture quality, really nice sound quality, and a great movie at that. So that's going to do it for Movie Time with Wes. Hope you're doing well, having a great day, great night. I guess we'll see you at the movies. Thanks for watching. Cheers.